My sister, 30, called me, 26 female, yesterday morning to tell me that her partner, 45 male, had been rushed to the hospital. She was in hysterics and I stayed on the phone with her until she could make it to the hospital. She works and her partner stays home with the kids. I believe he's on some disability or unemployment benefit though. Together they have 3 young kids. Here's some background on me and my sister. We had actually not spoken for almost an entire year before her most recent call to me. We have a really strained relationship starting from our childhood, which our parents exacerbated. I'll honestly say that my parents always favoured me and labelled my sister a problem child. Since her teens, she's been involved with sugar use and partying. She graduated high school but dropped out of community college. Our strict, traditional Asian parents shunned her after she dropped out of college. They effectively disowned her and pretended that they never had an older daughter. My parents haven't spoken to her in almost a decade, and they've never met their grandchildren. For the last decade, I've tried to maintain a positive relationship with my sister, but she's betrayed my trust too many times to count. Borrowing money and never returning it, stealing my items, pawning or selling them, bringing me into unnecessary drama in her life, etc. Honestly, I've been trying to distance myself from her for the last 3 or 4 years since she's caused me nothing but pain, stress and suffering. Then, last night, she called me again to let me know that her partner had suffered a severe stroke and had emergency surgery. The doctors say they're still very unsure of his prognosis. She then begged me to take in her children for the time being, saying she couldn't afford any childcare and that she'd lose her jobs if forced to stay with the children. Now here's the thing. Me and my boyfriend's 5th anniversary is coming up. We've already bought tickets, requested PTO and made accommodations for a 2-week European trip starting this Friday. The total trip, including airfare, cost us $18,000, most of which is non-refundable. I told my sister I'd call her back and let her know after I spoke with my boyfriend. He said it was my choice ultimately. I decided that I wanted to go on our anniversary trip, which I'd been looking forward to for an entire year. I called my sister back and told her I couldn't because of our trip. She started sobbing over the phone and lashed out at me, calling me cruel and selfish. She said that we could afford to rebook our vacation and didn't need that money back, but she would lose her job and her children if she couldn't find someone to take them in. It was a tough conversation, but I stuck with my decision. It's been almost a day since our call, and I won't lie, I do feel a lot of guilt. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Normally you would be the bad guy in this situation. However, I understand your decision with her not talking to you for a year, plus all the history of crap, stealing and drama. She's trying to drop all the consequences of her poor life decisions in your lap, and it's just not fair. I understand the guilt, but she wore you out and used up whatever sisterly feeling you had for her with all her nonsense. It's a totally overused phrase, but particularly apt here. You can't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. She sounds like the kind of person who pops out of nowhere whenever she needs something and disappears after she gets it. And I wouldn't be surprised if she disappeared after dropping the kids off, especially if her husband has some complications after his surgery, assuming he survives. OP, who lived with tact and wisdom, suddenly gets saddled with 3 kids she never chose to have. That jumped out at me too. Sister wasn't asking for childcare, she was asking OP to take the kids. OP, even if you wanted to assist, paying for a babysitter would be more effective than wasting the $18,000 trip and 2 weeks of PTO. It's not like being a blood relation changes anything, since from what you're saying you'd be a stranger to the kids anyway. It's no different from just hiring an actual stranger. Given your sister's history, do you know if her partner did have a stroke? If her husband is as bad off as your sister claims, why isn't your sister talking to the hospital social worker for help? Her husband was on some sort of disability before he had the stroke. Wouldn't they be eligible for some kind of assistance to help your sister out? Update: am I the idiot for refusing to take in my sister's kids after her partner had a stroke? My boyfriend and I just had a lengthy talk about this situation and he believes I made the right decision. However, after reading through everyone's helpful suggestions, we're leaning towards finding a babysitter and paying them directly to take care for the children, at least for the first week or 2. Even though I'm not close with my sister's children, I really feel for them. I'm not sure about her partner's parents, but from what I know, I believe he's estranged as well. I've never even met her youngest children, only the oldest maybe 1 or 2 times, so I'm a stranger to the kids. Plus, me and my boyfriend live in an apartment in the city, and we're about a 4-hour drive from her place. My sister will likely not qualify for FMLA since she's been at both jobs for less than a year. I've texted her and encouraged her to speak to a social worker at the hospital to see if there's anything they can do to help her or lead her in the right direction. I know there's doubt that he even had a stroke, but he did. She sent me pictures of him in the hospital and his CTs, MRIs. I do feel horrible for her, but at the same time it's tough for me to find the willpower to wire her money directly, given that she's stolen thousands of dollars from me in the past. But again, we're looking into finding a sitter and paying the sitter directly. To end, I will be going on our vacation. It's great to have had the added support of my lovely boyfriend regarding my decision. He also admitted that he was thankful I chose to go on the trip. Another big reason I wanted to go on this trip is because I have a sneaking suspicion that he might propose. Thank you very much. I have a young teen daughter from a previous relationship, and my wife has 2 sons, young and mid-teens. I had a vasectomy after my daughter to ensure I wouldn't have other kids. I spoil my daughter however I can. This includes brand clothes, expensive schools, and the best electronics. And before anyone decides that my daughter is a brat, she's an extremely well-behaved kid. The problem is my wife and her ex can't afford the same for their sons, and they're angry that our kids have entirely different living situations while living in the same house. My wife thinks I should be spoiling her sons too, but I can't afford it. So I told her that's not my problem, and they have 2 parents who should be spoiling them. Am I the idiot because I don't want to spoil my stepkids? You are the idiot for marrying someone with children when you had zero intention of treating them as full family members. It's fine not to want to be a step-parent, but then you shouldn't assume that role in the first place. Why do people do this? Why? Why? Go get child-free women, for God's sakes. Jeez. This is a kind of reverse Cinderella situation. Your real kid gets the best of anything she desires, while your stepchildren get to watch her be showered in gifts and are made very aware that they're not worthy of the same treatment. I bet other things are unequal too, like required chores and punishments. Step up and be a better stepdad. You're married to that person, so her kids are your kids too. Stop playing favourites. Update, I've been thinking about your comments and I think you're right. I can't treat kids under the same roof differently, so I asked my wife to move out of my home for now. We will try counselling and see how that goes, but if I have to choose between her and my daughter, it's always going to be my daughter. She's not happy as she has a low-paying job and moving out means downgrading their lives. The kids are old enough to understand that. Also, the wedding was a month ago, so it's a small change for them. You are the idiot, abso-damn-lutely. Your solution to this issue is to kick your wife out. What the heck? You need therapy to learn how to function as a human being. Geez, you are quite possibly one of the biggest idiots ever. Do you actually love your wife? You've been married for a month and you'd sacrifice your relationship with her rather than treat her kids decently? You're appalling. So, I'm a single father to my daughter Sarah, who recently started her sophomore year of high school. Sarah has autism, and though she's not especially learning disabled, she takes all mainstream or advanced classes, she does have trouble regulating her emotions and navigating social situations. She's very independent and needs minimal accommodations, though thanks to the accommodations that she does need, I'm used to dealing with the school district's special education programs. So far, I've not been especially impressed. Another thing to note about Sarah is that she has trouble controlling her temper and is very protective of her personal property. So, anyway, Sarah has this little fuzzy penguin plush that she calls Percy. She uses Percy as a sensory toy because his fuzzy texture helps her calm down. Percy was bought for Sarah by my late wife, her late mother, so needless to say, Percy is very special to Sarah. In Sarah's math class, a boy named Milo has special needs. Milo has an aide who works with him. This situation involves the aide, who I'll call Mr. A. The teacher of the class is Miss T. The way Sarah tells it, on Friday during her math class, while she was working quietly and fidgeting with Percy, Mr. A came up to her and asked her to give Percy to Milo. Sarah said no, and Mr. A tried convincing her to share Percy. Mr. A later said he was asking nicely, but according to Sarah and her table mate, he was being extremely condescending, talking to her like one would talk to a little kid. This culminated in Mr. A trying to take Percy out of Sarah's hands, and Sarah slapping Mr. A's hand and yelling at him. At that point, Miss T called for security, who arrived quickly and escorted Sarah to the security office. This is when the school called me. There was a big meeting with Mr. A, Miss T, the vice principal and the school counsellor. Sarah and Mr. A told their sides of the story, and Sarah's table mate as a third witness. It turns out that because Sarah sometimes works with the special ed department, Mr. A assumed that Percy was one of the school's special ed toys that they give to special needs kids while they're at school. Milo was starting to have a meltdown, and Mr. A thought that Percy might help him calm down. Apparently, the procedure for getting something away from a special needs kid is to ask nicely, persuade nicely, and take it away gently. I asked what steps would be taken against Mr. A for trying to steal from Sarah, and the other adults looked appalled. They said it was a misunderstanding, and the real concern was Sarah's violent outburst. The vice principal said that the school normally expels kids who attack a teacher, but after the misunderstanding came to light, they were willing to be lenient and settle for a week's suspension. I was not okay with this. He tried to steal from my daughter, but the administration said that it was not up for negotiation. I told them what they were doing was unacceptable and that I might not sue if they switched up their act and fired Mr. A. They basically said, "We dare you to sue," in politer words, and I left with Sarah. After talking things over with a buddy of mine, he jokingly called me a Karen for threatening to sue the school, and now I'm thinking that my reaction was too extreme. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but my parents sued my sister's school for much more. They have deep pockets, so be prepared to fight. It took over 4 years for them to settle. They were hoping to drain my family of money, but my mom's lawyer got so angry he took her case pro bono if she did the legwork. The settlement was nice, but she had to sign an NDA and she still has 2 years left. Don't be afraid to fight. Just know what you're against. Oh, you know it's going to be a messed up story if it's so bad that a lawyer takes the case pro bono. Anyways, OP, it's time to go further and involve the higher-ups. Definitely do it in a letter or email. Paper trails are harder for them to ignore. I did this by sending a certified letter to the school board, the principal, and the teacher regarding the laws they were breaking. My child was suddenly not going to be moved, and the principal was removed for the following year. Oh, don't send a certified letter. Get your lawyer to send a certified letter. Not the idiot. The aide tried to steal your daughter's security object, and she's facing trouble for defending herself. On a side note, help your daughter make a little vest and carry a bag for Percy that says Sarah's BBF or something so she can show that it's her personal property. If you have any of your wife's old clothes or a scarf to make it out of, that would be extra special for her. One of my female 24 friends, Anna, female 24, had a baby around 6 months back. Our friend group is otherwise childless. We all used to hang out a lot before the baby was born. The baby changed dynamics because Anna wanted to bring the baby everywhere with her, and it was a baby. We tried to plan things around the baby to include Anna, but it always ended up badly. We shouldn't drink because Anna can't drink. We shouldn't be loud because the baby needs to sleep. Icing on the cake, her baby is extremely fussy and constantly cries. It was just a downer for the rest of us. So we started hanging out without Anna and her baby. Last weekend, all of us went on a staycation. We had a great time and posted photos and videos on Instagram. Anna saw these and called me to ask why I didn't ask her to accompany me. I tried telling her it was a last-minute plan and we could only find a child-free resort to not hurt her feelings. She called my bluff, sending me pics some random family had posted with kids at the resort. She kept forcing me and I told her we didn't want to hang out with her baby. She asked how I can say that about her baby. I asked her to leave it at that, but she wouldn't. I finally told her it was a baby and we were all young. We don't want to live our lives around a baby she chose to have. We got to do adult stuff and party all we wanted. Her baby is the only reason she wasn't invited. If she leaves the baby at home, she can come too. She got angry at me and called me an idiot. She also sent a text in the group chat saying she was disappointed in all of us for excluding her because she was a mom. Half of our friend group thinks I shouldn't have told her the real reason and is mad at me. The other half thinks she's unreasonable. Am I the idiot for telling her the truth? Edit, we asked her not to bring the baby many times. We had a dinner a few weeks ago. We told her about the date and time and asked if her boyfriend would be fine looking after the baby. She said he could not, he would be tired, and it's no big deal bringing the baby. So she brought the baby. The baby cried the whole night. Everyone at the restaurant kept glaring and we had to leave way earlier. She laughs it off whenever childcare is mentioned or launches into how her boyfriend works hard and deserves rest or how babysitters cannot be trusted. Not the idiot. You're not excluding her because she's a mom. You're excluding her because she makes being a mom everyone else's problem. She won't leave the baby home, the father won't step up, she expects you to cater to her needs, and it sounds like she doesn't remove the baby from the situation when it's fussy. Hence, you all have to deal with it. You have every right to want to be young and act like it. She must accept that having a baby has changed things for her, but that doesn't mean everyone else has to change everything to accommodate that. Anna's choices are her choices and her consequences. She has a child with an absent father and her friends do not. It's not the baby's fault for being born, but no one needs to invite a baby into their friend group. Anna needs to find different friends who have children. This is the reality of children. It changes your relationships with the people around you. My daughter doesn't apply herself. She's the type of kid who will schedule the easy classes. She's gliding by in high school. She mentioned she wanted to follow in her aunt's footsteps and be an engineer. She's looking into her new classes, 3 new ones for the half of the year, and I looked over them. Now they were all fun, manageable classes. I asked if she still wanted to be an engineer and she said of course. So I asked why she wasn't trying some math or workshop classes. She told me she didn't need those. I sat her down and went to multiple colleges that offer engineering and showed her what classes she would need to take. There were a lot of math, circuits, and just a lot of STEM classes. I told her that it's a lot of work and she needs to step up now and take some extra STEM classes if she wants to go into the field since she has no background at all at the moment. She got quiet and went to her room. She doesn't want to be an engineer anymore and my wife is angry at me. I don't know if I did anything wrong by telling her the reality of the degree she wanted. Not the idiot. I want to go into a STEM field, I just don't want to take any STEM classes. Your daughter needed a dose of reality. You're correct in believing that college preparation begins now. Programs like engineering weed out those who would not succeed. If your daughter waits for college to take the challenging classes, she's already behind, and her dream dies anyway. Your wife is angry at you for being realistic. It's better to get a reality check now. My son says he wants to be an engineer, but he's not great at math and not really interested in it either. Why would I pump him up with nonsense? I would bet your wife has been feeding into her delusion all along. I disagree. You are the idiot. Don't kill her confidence before she's had the chance to even start. I'm a woman in electrical engineering. I came in with zero knowledge and nothing fancy in high school, and I'm doing great. It was a learning curve, but it's been so rewarding. At least encourage her to purchase electronic kits to play around with before deciding on a major. Don't shut her down. Tell her it will be hard, but you are so proud of her for attempting this. Not, you can't, it's too much. She can learn all that stuff in college. That's literally the point.